Whole name?
Beneficiary.
Oh, he done this before.
What's his name?
The beneficiary.
Yeah, first name is the beneficiary.
Are you stating that the trust that we are administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust? If so,
I'm asking you what your name is.
my name is the beneficiary of the trust.
Of whose trust?
Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust, Your Honor?
Okay, I'm
If so,
gonna recall him. Bring up somebody else. Put him aside. We'll call him at the end. Sir, is your name the beneficiary, Kevin Teron Anthony Pollard? Yes or no?
I'm the beneficiary of the trust, Your Honor. Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust?
Are you Kevin Pollard? I'm asking you.
Is the trust that we are now administrating?
Sir, I ask the questions here. You give me yes or no answers.
You're asking for my permission
I ask the questions. You give the answers. Is that clear?
It's very clear.
Okay, listen.
Yes.
Are you also known by the name of Kevin Pollard amongst other names? Yes or no?
Are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust, Your Honor? If so, Kevin Pollard is in fact present today. It is you that is Kevin Pollard, Your Honor.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is different, much darker, much more serious. We're dealing with the most disturbing and genuinely dangerous sovereign citizen I've ever covered. And I'm not saying that for shock value or clickbait. This one crosses into territory that even seasoned judges and attorneys find unnerving. We're heading to Michigan, where this individual makes 4 separate court appearances, each one more alarming than the last. The escalation is real, the behavior is unpredictable, and the stakes are far higher than anything we typically see from a sovereign citizen crowd. So buckle up. This one gets intense. Now let's begin.
It is you.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor.
Really?
It is you. That is Kevin Pollard. Yes, Your Honor.
I'm Kevin Pollard.
You are Kevin Pollard today, Your Honor. I am the beneficiary.
And then who are you?
I am the beneficiary of the trust.
Okay, well, Mr. Beneficiary, take you and your trust back to jail.
I have some questions for the clerk, Your Honor.
No.
I have. Can I speak to the clerk before we go any further?
You know what? I'm put you in timeout. Get your mind right, Mr. Pollard.
Yes, sir. Can I have the clerk present, please, Your Honor?
Don't give in.
Please have the clerk present in the Zoom meeting.
You know what? If you answer my questions, I'll consider it.
Okay. What's the question?
What's your name?
The beneficiary.
All right, Mr. Beneficiary, put you back in timeout. All right, beneficiary. I'm going to give you another chance in front of another magistrate.
I've heard sovereign citizens claim they're the trustee of the estate. I've heard them declare themselves the beneficiary of some imaginary trust. But I have never, and I mean never, heard one try to argue that the judge is actually the person being charged at this point. We're witnessing a level of legal delusion so intense it feels like we've reached the final boss of sovereign citizen nonsense. This isn't just wrong, it's galaxy level wrong. We have officially hit the ceiling of courtroom stupidity.
That's no problem. Can I have the clerk present, please?
Hey, sir, I'm Magistrate Chartea. DDC.
Excuse me? Yeah.
I'm talking to the DDC officer.
Yes.
DDC?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The gentleman that is in front of the screen, in front of camera 1, what name do you have him listed as?
Kevin Pollard.
Do you have a middle name?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you have a Kevin Pollard. Okay, and sir, you're identified as Kevin Pollard, but you're considering yourself the beneficiary. Is that correct, sir?
Are we on the record?
We are. Everything is on the record.
Okay, are you stating that the trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard trust, ma'am?
I'm not administrating any trust because there is no trust in front of me. But what I'm asking you is, you call yourself the beneficiary. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, no problem. I have case number is 240-5538101. People of the state of Michigan versus Kevin Theron Anthony Pollard, who is listed by DDC as Kevin Pollard. However, the gentleman has identified himself as the beneficiary.
You representing as Kevin Pollard today, Your Honor?
You know you're being a real problem when it takes two different magistrates just to survive your arraignment. And honestly, I have to give credit where it's due. The first magistrate really tried. He even hit him with the judicial equivalent of a timeout, which was hilarious to watch. But then the second magistrate steps in, and that's when things get interesting. Instead of fighting the nonsense head on, he uses a surprisingly clever tactic to push the circus forward and actually keep the arraignment on track. It's one of those moments where you can tell the court has officially run out of patience and switched to efficiency mode.
Mr. Pollard, Mr. Pollard, as your counsel, I am going to advise that you stop speaking and allow the judge to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel Kirkland.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Shava Kirkland on behalf of Mr. Pollard, who has been advised of his rights, which is to stand mute and waive the formal reading.
Thank you. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. Court dates are February 2nd, 2024. It is a probable cause conference, followed by preliminary examination, February 8th, 1:30 p.m. Both matters are in front of Judge King. The probable cause conference, it is at 8:30 in the morning. Mr. Beneficiary, you should not talk over to the court. I thank you very much.
You are under oath and you are on record. And I'm asking you,
beneficiary, I have not sworn you under oath. I am under oath, so I am doing all this. I'm going to enter plea of not guilty. I already given the court dates while this case is pending, sir. Okay, there should be no contact with the individual.
You are not allowed to state what the judgment is. That is my job.
Mr. Pollard, I do want to let you know that the person.
Okay.
I have a question for the clerk.
Okay.
I have a question for the clerk.
A moment.
I have a question for the clerk.
You will give an opportunity, sir. You will give an opportunity. Let me finish. The people, go ahead, Esteban.
Yeah, the people are asking for $250,000 cash bond, no cash, no surety. If he's able to ever post bond, we'd like GPS tether with home arrest. The defendant, Your Honor, has a continuing situation where he entices young girls on the internet from Arizona in this particular case, and previously on 10/23/2023 in another case where he enticed people. He's been arrested 3 different times for criminal sexual conduct. The first case, he was found not guilty back on 5/15/2015. The 10/21/2023 case, where he was criminal sexual conduct 1st degree and also contributing alcohol to a minor, 2 counts of that, was at the exam dismissed without prejudice. In our particular case we have here today, Your Honor, the victim is from Arizona. She came here after having a relationship, not the victim, but one of the witnesses came here after having a 3-year relationship with this defendant on the internet. When she turned 18, she came to visit. And also, Mr. Pollard introduced her to another girl who is also from Arizona. The other girl brought her niece or her, I forgot the relationship, but her 7-year-old niece with her to visit Mr. Pollard. And what happened then, because the person was tired of traveling, she fell asleep in the living room. When she woke up, she went into the bedroom, and there was Mr. Pollard with the 7-year-old girl. He then said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, we're playing video games." So the woman, the adult in the room, she falls asleep again. And then she is awakened by the 7-year-old girl and asked to leave. The 7-year-old girl then tells her mother that the Mr. Pollard touched her, rubbed her, he says, okay? He said, you know, accidentally is what he's trying to tell us what happened. The situation is she's told the 7-year-old child has told TED Talk that he did this. He's told Protective Services that he did this. And as far as I'm concerned, Judge, he fits the category of a predator because he did the same thing in the 1023-2023 case of enticing young people from other parts of the country, perhaps, I don't know where exactly, to come and see him on the internet. So we're asking for $250,000 cash bond, no surety, and GPS tether if he's ever be able to post bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
The magistrate tries to take control of the situation right away. All right, that's no problem. Can I have the clerk present, please? Sir, I'm Magistrate DDC. But instead of responding to the magistrate, the defendant starts talking to the DDC officer, completely ignoring who's actually running the hearing. Yes, DDC. Yes, ma'am. The magistrate redirects. Okay, the gentleman in front of the screen. Camera 1. What name do you have him listed as? The DDC officer responds. Kevin Puh. No middle name. All right. The magistrate continues. So you have him listed as Kevin Puh. And sir, you're identified as Kevin Parr, but you're considering yourself the beneficiary, correct? The defendant fires back with the classic sovereign citizen stall tactic. Are we on the record? Yes, we are. The magistrate replies. Everything is on the record. Then she gets to the point. Are you stating that the trust we are administrating is the Kevin Puh Trust? He immediately rejects it. Ma'am, I'm not administrating any trust because there is no trust in front of me. What I am saying is that I am the beneficiary. Correct? Okay, no problem. The magistrate says, staying calm. Then she clarifies the case. This is case number 24-553810-1. People of the State of Michigan versus Kelvin Thon Anthony Pard, listed by DDC as Kevin Puh. However, the gentleman has identified himself today as Kevin Parr.
Counsel Kirkland, go ahead, Esteban, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd ask this court, understanding the seriousness of these charges, for a 10% bond if this court is not inclined to do a high personal bond. So one, I know the bulk of Brother Counsel's argument was this dismissed case from last year. I'd ask that this court sentence him based on these allegations and the facts and details surrounding this case. This is a 2020 case. And the woman that he met was 20 years old, or that came to see him was a 20-year-old woman, was not an underage woman. And the allegation is that she brought her, I believe, goddaughter to the home. Now, there are different variations because a couple different stories are told as to what occurred there. But Mr. Pollard has maintained that he did not sexually assault the little girl. I'm not sure why this case wasn't charged until 2024, but it is a 4-year-old case. My understanding is that he, I don't believe he's had any convictions since then. He is a lifelong resident, has a child, so he has strong ties to the community. He also owns a lawn service here. At this point, there's no amount of bond that he can't afford to pay, so even a 10% bond would be unaffordable for him. But given the age of this case and his lack of issues since this, I'd ask this court consider a high personal bond, if not that, a 10% bond.
Thank you. I've heard the representations from both sides in this particular matter in reference to the beneficiary who is listed by the court or by DDC as Kevin Pollard, is that in this particular matter, even though this is from 2020, okay, there was a forensic interview, Kids Talk, with the victim, and she disclosed that she was touched by the defendant and that he rubbed her with his hand. This court is not considering the other cases that were dismissed without prejudice. Okay, this court is only going with this matter. In reference to this gentleman, the defendant, bond is going to be $250,000 cash. There's going to be a GPS tether, home arrest. Further, okay, it's going to be unaffordable. So today is Friday. He's going to get another court date. Today's the 26th. January 29th, 2024, 9 o'clock in front of Judge McConicle, who's going to be looking at the bond amount and bond conditions. Also, there is one other thing. This court looks at clear and convincing evidence standard, okay, based on the representation, based on the reading. This court is convinced that Mr. Pollard, okay, I'm sorry, the beneficiary, okay, that he is a creditor in this particular matter. That's why we're putting at $250,000 cash, GPS tether, house arrest. He does have the unaffordable bond redetermination for this Monday, January 29, 2024, 9 o'clock in front of Judge McConicle. Also, there's another bond condition. He's not to be around any minor children. That concludes the arraignment of the beneficiary, also known as Kevin Pollard. Madam Clerk.
Pre-trial, Your Honor.
You wish
No, I wish
talk to the gentleman that's in front of the screen.
Judge.
Okay. Just so for the record, is that the clerk has declined to talk to the gentleman in front of the screen.
That is not fair.
Thank you.
That is not fair. You cannot do this. Under oath and on record, you cannot do this. I have rights, and you violated them, and you was not my judge.
Okay, you can go. Go ahead and do whatever.
You cannot do that.
Normally, I'd say a $250,000 bond is pushing it, maybe even a bit excessive. But with the allegations stacked the way they are, and the defendant's history reading like a greatest hits album of bad decisions, it actually feels right on target. In fact, given everything we've seen so far, that bond might be the first thing in this case that makes perfect sense.
February 2nd, February 8th.
February 2nd, February 8th. Bond redetermination
Administrator
Monday.
of this QV trust account that
Huh? What you say?
And yet they still did. Funny how that whole jurisdiction thing suddenly works when you're not the one inventing the rules in your head. Now, before we jump into his bond redetermination hearing, the first magistrate actually returns and delivers a beautifully subtle bit of trolling aimed directly at our sovereign citizen superstar. It's one of those moments where you can tell the magistrate is done being patient and has decided to start having a little fun with the situation while still staying completely professional.
What is the bond for your client? $250,000.
Cash, that's correct.
Argument.
Judge, my client's 38 years of age. He's on Social Security disability, Judge. I don't see any criminal history for Mr. Pollard, Your Honor. He lives in the city, does have a child. Your Honor, this alleged incident occurred back in 2020. So it's some 4 years ago. You know, obviously, you know, it's a serious case, obviously, but it's 4 years old, Judge. He has no priors. I'm asking respectfully for a reduction in bond. The bond is $250,000 cash. Judge, I know the court will impose a GPS tether. I already know that, Judge. My client, in fact, Judge, he has a tether already on. He has a tether already on. Let me be clear about that. There's a misdemeanor, and I apologize, Judge, if I said something wrong initially. There's a misdemeanor that he has the tether for, so it's a misdemeanor.
Okay.
You know, Your Honor, and he does a lawn care service, so he does have some work that he does. But the court doesn't have to worry about tether. I'm just asking for a reduction in bond to either a high per, some type of 10% bond. I think $250,000, Judge, is excessive. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Prosecutor.
Judge, the defendant on the screen today in the top left, he's being charged with sexually assaulting a 7-year-old. The assault allegedly happened at his house in his bed. Your Honor, this is an individual who allegedly is self-proclaimed part of the tribe of Judah.
And yet they still did. Funny how that whole jurisdiction doesn't apply to me. Fantasy falls apart the second the real court steps in and does its job. Reality always wins. Sovereign citizen logic never even makes it out of the gate. Now, before we get into his bond redetermination hearing, something unexpected happens. The first magistrate actually returns, and he doesn't waste a second before delivering a wonderfully subtle bit of trolling aimed straight at our sovereign citizen genius. It's the kind of dry, professional sarcasm only a seasoned judge can pull off, and it lands perfectly. You can tell he's had enough of the nonsense, and he's ready to have a little fun while still keeping everything technically by the book.
This is also an individual that I actually had the opportunity to watch the arraignment regarding the defendant in this case. Gave the magistrate such a hard time that multiple magistrates actually ended up having to handle the matter because he wouldn't give up his name or his identity. Now, being charged with this and now knowing what his past is like, I may refrain from giving a magistrate or a judge my name as well. Because, Judge, the situation that Mr. Reagan is talking about that the defendant's involved in right now, it has to do with selling and furnishing alcohol to minors, to a 12-year-old and 14-year-old. It actually originally began as a criminal sexual conduct first degree where the defendant allegedly was having sex with the 12-year-old. But, Your Honor, based on apparently the idea that somebody didn't appear at a hearing, it was reduced to the selling and furnishing of the alcohol. So he has an ongoing matter right now, Judge. He's on bond. We have this particular matter, allegedly, where this individual ended up touching a 7-year-old's vagina. We have corroboration to that, Judge. And Your Honor, with all due respect, the way that the people see this defendant based on previously being charged, now being charged with another CSE first degree, we find him to be a predator. Not only that, Judge, we find him to be mentally unstable. He's currently on a case regarding minors, 12 and 14 years old, and just plain and simple, Judge, we find him to be a danger to the community. Therefore, Judge, we do feel as though a high cash bond is appropriate. We do feel as though the magistrate got it right here in terms of the $250,000 cash, not just to this particular complainant, but kids, all kids. This is one of those individuals where we feel as though he poses a danger.
He starts rambling off dates: February 2nd, February 8th, February, and then immediately derails into another one of his imaginary SSQV trust accounts. The magistrate tries to follow along, even throws in a confused, what did you say? Because at this point, nobody in that courtroom knows what planet this man is broadcasting from. All right, so now we move into the next phase, his bond redetermination hearing. This hearing is automatically granted to anyone who's been given a bond they can't realistically afford. And let's be honest, most people would look at a $250,000 bond and agree it's completely unaffordable. The next judge agrees with that part. He just disagrees with what the bond should be.